for when you're trying to make a claim on your insurance.
All right, we are here with the very first episode of the T Podcast, and we are going to have a good old funky good time. Now, we have a group of people here that's going to be our regular hosts. And I just want to introduce everybody. Sitting to my left is Mr. Phillip. Tell them a little bit about yourself and who you are.
Well, I'm good friends with Sonica's boyfriend, Jonathan Crockett, and I'm a new resident of Indianapolis by, I think, 5 years. I've been here since 2013. So my first time doing a panel like this, but I'm very excited. Don't mind me, I'm just detangling my hair, but I love a good conversation.
And all right, sitting over here off camera, you probably can't see him, is Jonathan Crockett, my boo. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as far as living here in Indianapolis and just being a part of the LGBT community.
My name is Jonathan. I am Seneca's boyfriend. I am 38 years old. I've been in Indy for about a little over 5 years now. And as being a part of the LGBT community, I support as much as I can, even though work really gets in the way a lot. But I have been in several gay choruses here in the city and in Bloomington, Indiana. And that's about it. I just really have a lot of support for my community. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, we're going to go to the lines because I believe one of our other panelists is here. We'll see. Let's go make sure this is him.
Is that Tyler?
Yeah, it should be. All right. 765-635. Is this Tyler?
Yes, it is.
All right. Welcome to the show.
Yay.
This is I told everybody this is our first episode of the T Podcast. And as you being one of our regular panelists, tell the people a little bit about yourself, your history in Indianapolis, and just being a part of the LGBT community.
I've been living in Indianapolis off and on for like the last 8-9 years, moving around, obviously, in Indiana and around the world. Being a part of the LGBT community here in Indianapolis has always kind of been this, love-hate thing, but, that's how it is with all communities. But I feel like it's a lot of love, and I have a lot of respect for the people here and for what the community does here in Indianapolis.
All right. Well, I just want to, first of all, before we even get the ball rolling on this podcast, this is the first podcast, so, we're trying to establish a format, but I really am glad that we were able to get this platform up and going because in the times that we're currently living in, we need a voice for not only the local community, but the national community. There's so much going on as far as legislation. We're being attacked on all fronts and ends, and I feel that we need to come together as a community, talk about a lot of things that are going on, not just the negative, but the positive. Like, any resources we can offer to people, just anything positive that we can give back. So that's my thing about the platform. And as we grow, we're going to develop, and come up with a, more solid format. But I just want to at least get the ball up and running tonight. And I just want to hear from you guys. What do you guys want to see from this store? From this podcast in this format? Like, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys each about, a minute or two to kind of just explain what do you expect from this platform that we're establishing. And I'm going to start with you, Phillip.
Well, this is my first time actually doing a panel, like I've said before. And, normally I have a lot to say. I'm very outspoken, very opinionated. But, up until now, I've never, been in a place where you have an option to, a chance to speak your mind, and that everyone, beyond Indianapolis has a chance to hear it. It's kind of like having a town hall meeting, with your closest friends, and because especially the gay community here in Indianapolis, we all have a lot of things that, well, some of the things that we say are better left unsaid, but then there are things that, all of us are struggling to talk about because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or, we don't want anyone to get the wrong impression, or we don't want to come off as petty.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, let's be honest. We need something like this. We need to be able to talk about issues that all of us in the gay community in Indianapolis and even beyond the city are struggling with. And, I mean, it's better to say it here than on Grindr or Scruff or
Right.
any other dating app, because I'm let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of tension going on in this community.
Oh yes,
and
I agree.
And it needs to be discussed, because I feel like if we do that, then we can finally come together. And since the topic is what is gay pride to you, I think that's a good thing to start off with our first episode. And I'm going to go into detail about that when it's my turn again. But I want everyone else to have a chance to say what's on their mind before I have a chance to say what's on mine.
All right. Now, Jonathan, what is your definition? Well, first of all, pretty much the question at hand is what was the question, girl?
Like the expectation.
Yeah, the expectation of the podcast. All right, go ahead.
Well, I guess my expectation of the podcast is, we want to shine light on local, state, national, and even international LGBT issues. I want to support our community even more, and I just want to, bring more equality and more justice out there.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think it's really lacking in certain key areas of the United States. I think that our administration is really trying to reverse the progress that we've made, and I think there are certain factions out there that are trying to win the battle, but I know they're not going to win the war. So I think that as long as we really hit these issues home and really get people engaged, then I think we're going to make a difference.
All right. Now, Tyler, we get to you now. Like, what is your expectations from for this podcast, and what would you like to see done with this platform that we're presenting to the people?
I really just want us to have a space where we can bring forth a little bit of honesty and a little bit of forthrightness to some of the issues that have been going on. I feel like a lot of times what we get from a lot of the mainstream gay voices are a lot of like, work hard, it'll get better sort of platitudes. And I feel like we need a little bit more honesty. We need to present the issues, these things that are really affecting our communities, these things that are harming us and are doing great harm to us as individuals and as our community.
Mm-hmm.
And really nail those things down and point those things out and try to give a voice to the people who are here on the ground level feeling this every day. This life is a queer person's life.
All right, that sounds good. I just want to say before we get started, because I'm just going to run down of what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, you guys see the title of the show, What is Gay Pride? But I also want to talk about Indy Pride. Just what did you guys like about it? What didn't you like about it? We're going to talk about just the whole, what's the term I'm looking for? Like how it's became so corporate in recent years. Mm-hmm. And the importance of allies and what is an ally. So we're going to talk about that. And also, if we have time, because I know we're going to try to rush through these topics, I want to talk about the recent killings of trans women. Like, I don't know if you guys have been hearing a lot in the media. There's been several attacks on gay men, but mostly transgender women this year. So the whole issue of trans rights, we're going to talk about that today. But my hope for this platform is, like Tyler said, I want a safe place where we can have honest dialogue, because I feel so many times a lot of the mainstream platforms that are out here for LGBTQ, it's so superficial. We don't really talk about the issues that are really plaguing our community. We don't, and then everybody wants to tiptoe around certain issues. And here on the Urban Wire Network, I've always wanted to have different platforms where we can just be upfront and honest, because, you know, Indianapolis is my home. I'm here, you know, I've been living in that town all my life and a part of the LGBT community for years. And it's just a lot of politics that are going on in the community, a lot of just issues that people are afraid to tackle. You know what I'm saying? And I think with a city this size, we need to kind of get on code and get on point. You know what I'm saying? So that is just my thing. And also, I just want to, with this platform, I want to kind of shed the light on people that are doing positive in the community, like different organizations, different, you know, just different talent, just kind of just showcasing what we have as the LGBT community, because we are a pretty nice sized city, but I don't think that we get the play that we deserve. So I just hope that we can all respect each other's opinions, and just, you know, anybody that does call in, you know, just let's just do this in love, because that's all we really have at the end of the day. Like, you know, it's time out for all the hate and the foolishness and everything else. So I'm gonna let everybody know you can call in, because I have a lot of people that were on live following this live. If you want to call in and join the conversation, call us at area code 646-595-3515. Once again, that's 646-595-3515. Now, I want to start off with the history of, well, not the history. I'm going to do that here in a little bit. But I just want to do a recap of Indy Pride. As you guys know, this is currently Indy Pride's weekend, official Pride weekend. And I'm going to go to a clip really quick from WTHR 13, kind of outlining, you know, the whole weekend. And I'm going to come back, and we're going to come back with the rest of our commentary.
The Indianapolis Pride Festival is just wrapping up in downtown Indy tonight. Today was a chance for people to really celebrate and be proud of who they are. Tens of thousands attended the Pride Parade along Mass Ave and the festival at Military Park. Our Anna Carrera explains why this was such an important day for families in our community. The crowd started stretching down Mass Ave long before the parade started. For one couple, today was a day of extra celebration.
We're here to celebrate Pride. It's our 1-year anniversary tomorrow, so we're coming out to just be with our people, be free, not judged. When I first started coming, the parade was like 15 minutes, so to see how much it's grown is really impressive, and how much more our communities accept it is great.
A group of local moms offered their support, saying they know some people in the LGBTQ community don't get the love they deserve.
It's just something that I enjoy being a part of. It's part of my family, and my kids are supportive of my family members, and we're out here to support everybody as well.
After the parade, people headed to Military Park. There were hundreds of performers on 3 different stages, entertaining crowds in the thousands all day long. Organizers say this is all about community.
We've absolutely come a long way, but for especially our trans and non-binary family, they're still experiencing a lot of persecution, a lot of oppression and discrimination, even from the highest levels of government, and even in the past year. This is the one day a year where we can be ourselves with people who are just like us, and we don't have to educate the public, we don't have to explain who we are, we can just be with each other, and that's me special.
The day's wish to just be along with everyone else.
They can see us, they can love us, they can embrace us for the beautiful parts of society that we are.
It's not, we need to boast that we're gay, it's just that we're proud that we can live free right now and just express our happiness, express our love.
Reporting in downtown Indianapolis, I'm Anna Carrera, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
All right, we are back now. I'm assuming, Tyler, I'm assuming that you went to Pride 2 this year, right? Of course, I know you did.
Of course I did.
Okay, so I just want to make sure. He said, of course.
He's like, of course.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, it was just really good.
Of course I was there.
Yeah, that's a given. I don't even need to ask that because I know everybody else here went. Philip, I want to start off with you. What did you think about Pride this year? And like, what do you see as some opportunities of growth? And what were some of the good things that you saw?
Well, I mean, first of all, like I said, at the beginning of this podcast, I'm new to Indianapolis. I've only lived here for about 6 years. I'm originally from South Bend, and as well as many of you know, my former mayor is running for president, Pete Buttigieg.
Mm-hmm.
He's our first gay mayor in South Bend, Indiana. And, coming to Indianapolis, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe the gay community and the awareness and the love and the, just the camaraderie is, a lot more apparent in a bigger city than in South Bend, where it's just like, okay, it's, about maybe 2 or 3 hours away from Chicago. So maybe, there's a few Chicagoans there, amongst the group of the minuscule gay community. I felt that, I've to Indy Pride for the first time I went was in 2014. So it's been a long time since, this year I went. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't impressed. And maybe I'm being picky, or maybe it's because I missed what happened earlier, but I'm going to be real with everyone here. Not everyone's going to agree with me, but I felt like Indy Pride should have been a much bigger deal than what it portrayed to be. First of all, why in the hell did it take place in Military Park? It's a small park. When I was there in 2014, it took place in front of the library in the large mall area, where the War Memorial was, the plaza was. That was a large space that, you plenty of room to breathe, to roam around after the parade. But here, when I went to Military Park, and we all did, it felt like cramped. It was even fenced in. Like we felt like a bunch of sardines in a can. Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which is I think is more obvious, is that Seneca said it was more corporate. Now I like the fact that Salesforce, is the sponsor of the Pride event, but from what I've heard from the parade, there were a lot of companies, in the parade, and when I was there, in 2014, there were a lot of churches in the parade. So I just have a feeling, are they really, about equality? Are they really about gay rights here in the state of Indiana, or are they just trying to tell people, hey, look, we're this large company that supports everyone's differences because we don't want you to think that we're homophobic. And at the same time, that you have the city of Indianapolis saying, hey, look, we're gay friendly, so we won't drive away businesses like Salesforce. Because if I recollect, a couple of years ago, Salesforce and several other companies threatened to leave Indianapolis, as well as Gen Con, PopCon, and other conventions that take place here. They were threatened to leave the city after the RFRA was passed in our wonderful state government. So I felt like Indy Pride, it was walking on eggshells. They were really trying hard to portray, Indianapolis as a gay-friendly city, but I think it's further from the truth. I feel like we have a longer way to go. What I would like to see is we need a much larger space. We need a better route for the parade. I mean, Mass Ave is great, but that's really a hassle to see the parade on a diagonal street. When I was there in 2014, it took place on Meridian Street, and it wrapped around another street. So what changed is what I want to know. Why did they change the venue? Why did they change the parade route? But I felt like it was lukewarm.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not from Indianapolis, I would have liked to see more, because you have to understand, coming from a smaller city in the state of Indiana, we expect Indianapolis to have a high standard when it comes to celebrating Pride.
Yes.
Because we are not too far from Chicago. We are not too far from Columbus or Louisville. And, between Seneca and Jonathan, they both went to Atlanta Pride. And, they praised at, how big and bold it was, especially the Black Pride down there, which we also have coming up, I think, in August.
I believe so. I haven't really heard much about it, honestly.
Yeah, but case in point, you don't hear much about it. So I feel like not many people knew about Pride this year, let alone Black Pride, or maybe just a lot of people weren't interested. And so, since we are in a very conservative state, we need to make a bigger statement than just a parade that is in a boxed-in fence at Military Park. I mean, we really need to put Indy Pride on the map, because we are a city that attracts a lot of business. I mean, we're in a geographically perfect location in the United States. So the city could grow much faster if we really try to promote the city as gay-friendly, and not just another city that glorifies sports culture in the middle of a cornfield.
All right. We're going to move over to Jonathan. What do you feel were some areas of opportunity as far as Indy Pride are concerned, and what are some of the positives that you've seen?
I want to start with the positives. I really did feel like there was a lot of love at the festival. I didn't get a chance to go to the parade because I had worked the night before, and because it's so late in the morning, I have to get my rest. But aside from that, I really feel like we did have a lot of support, a lot more support from our allies, from our straight allies. I know that Seneca, you and I have mutual friends where they came to support us. And to me, that is that really means something, because when I came out 20 years ago, I didn't have a lot of support. In fact, I had a lot of pushback. I was told, I was going to hell, and I was bullied, and of course that was the culture back then. And because I'm from Terre Haute, and that was a very rural mindset.
Terrible.
And if you come out in Terre Haute or even places that are smaller than that, the chances of you getting bullied and possibly even killed are pretty high. And no one really bats an eye when that sort of thing happens. So I'm glad to see in 20 years that it's really come a long way. And one thing I really noticed in my travels around Indiana, even hearing a lot of other little small town prides like Spencer, Bloomington, Lafayette, South Bend now, Jeffersonville. And last year I went to Vincennes' first ever Pride last year. And they were small, but they made a gigantic statement in a very, very isolated place in Indiana that really does need Pride, and that needs to tell all these people out there that, come out wherever you are, be who you are, don't hide it. That's what I really got from, that's what I get from Pride every year. But one thing I really think that Pride, at least in Indianapolis, can do better is, I really think, and this is just really logistical, I think it just needs to be in a bigger venue than where it's at now, because I think it's too compact. And I think that may have to do with the organization trying to coordinate with the city. But that's probably a subject for another time. I think they're trying. And I think that they're on the right path. I would like to see maybe some minute changes, but just for the better. I mean, right now I think it could be better, and that's where I'm gonna end it.
Okay. All right, Tyler. I know me and you. I remember I met Tyler at work. We've been pretty cool for the past like couple of years and stuff. And then me and him was just like talking. I said we remember. Yeah, we kind of remember a lot of the same.
Too.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yeah, same of a lot of the same things that coming up in Indianapolis. Just a lot of the same people and just a lot of the same experiences we had. And so I can kind of really relate to Tyler on a lot of his viewpoints of different things that are going on in the city. So Tyler, can you tell us what were some of the pros and cons about this year's Indy Pride from your perspective?
Yeah, as Seneca said, we've actually kind of had this conversation before, but Pride, especially here in Indy, has always had a really interesting relationship with organization. As Jonathan was saying earlier, organization has never been Indy Pride's like strong suit. But aside from like the simple organizational problems, I think that when it comes to the pros, which I feel like need to be the focus whenever we talk about something like Pride, the pros are all about visibility. As Jonathan was saying, the famous Harvey Milk quote, come out wherever you are. Like, that's not just, for us, that's not just something that we need to tell ourselves as out gay men, but that's something that we need to live, especially in some place, some space that's so visible like Pride. Our openness, our outness at some place like Pride is not just for ourselves. Like, I go because I want to be in a space that allows me to be the out gay man that I am always, but allows me to be that in a public space. But I recognize that is not the only purpose for Pride. It's the purpose of Pride in another way is that we get to take our masks off, our straight world masks, and we are visible to the people who can't take those masks off. To the kids who are growing up in these small towns that I grew up in, that Jonathan grew up in, like these are the people that need to see us as
absolutely
the amazing queer people that we are. And the more regressive among us, the more I don't want to use this term, but straight acting among us would like us to kind of tone down the queer during these out moments, these times where we are out in public. Yeah. And I think that that's the exact opposite of what we need to do. Mm-hmm. We need to be authentically everything queer that we can be. We need to push forward those people in our community that are marginalized, even in our own communities. Those are the people that need to be in the spotlight during Pride. We need to all, as the queer community, need to stand in the spotlight during Pride and tell the world this is who we are, so that the world can see us, and so those people who can't be visible can see us and take pride in themselves and in us and in our community. So I think that's what I like to try to focus on whenever there's a discussion about Pride. Specifically about Indianapolis Pride, I fully agree with Jonathan on the organizational issues, but that I feel like the issues with organization all come from a place of wanting it to work. Like, no one is behind the scenes, like, twirling their mustache saying, I want to make this Pride unorganized so that everyone hates it. Like, that's not the intent. But, yeah. But no, I think we need to so things with that, with like the bad parts, or not necessarily bad, but negative parts of Pride, those are the things that we need to work within our own communities. We need to give feedback to the Pride committee. We need to send them emails. We need to like suggest things that we saw that community.
Not
And
public.
that's not
Yeah.
really and not broadcast that and make that the center of pride. We don't need to make that the focus of pride.
Let's see, what now?
So let me ask you this, Tyler, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good thing. So do you think that we need to have some sense of code and ethics within our own community? Because that's what I call getting on code. That's the same thing when I'm on the Urban Wire. I said, when I'm talking about black politics and black people getting on code, we need to have a sense of ethics and code. Like, we don't need to be airing all our dirty laundry out to the public, because that kind of harms us sometimes, because they'll see all this dissension and all this what's the word I'm looking for?
Discord.
Discord and division amongst us. So that kind of pushes us back. But that's a good thing that you said. I'm glad that you brought that up. Like, so do you think that there is a need for a code of ethics?
I definitely do. I think that, and I think that part of the problem we've gotten into as a queer community lately, as in the last 10, maybe 15 years, is there hasn't been that code. That code has fallen to the side. We're no longer the united LGBT community that we have been in the past, or that we could be again. And I feel like that's where those fracture points are, where we have let outside negative influences come in and break apart our community and further marginalize people within our community. You mentioned the deaths of the multiple trans women of color in the last month who have been murdered, and the outrageous attacks by our government on our trans brothers and sisters since this new administration has come into power. The outside world can see our fracture points, and then they jump, they pounce, they come in and they make attacks on our community by using the fracture points that they see that we have opened up to them. We expose our weakness to them, and they take advantage.
Could you give an example?
That's why I feel like we should. When it comes to our own, somebody mentioned Grindr earlier in the podcast, and things like Grindr and Scruff, where we have the no fats, no femmes, no queers.
Yeah, that's what
yes.
Our own insecurities within our own community have allowed us to separate ourselves from the trans community, from the out queenie femme community, like within our own communities. And those are the people that are the most marginalized, the most attacked. And we as a queer community have let the outside world bully our trans brothers and sisters, have bullied our queer brothers and sisters, our people of color, those people of color within our communities. We've allowed them to bully those people and to attack them and to kill them, because we don't, as a group, stand as a united front.
So let me ask you this, Tyler, and I'm going to get everybody else's opinion of this too. Do you think that is because we have a new generation of LGBT youth that are coming up, people or individuals that are coming up that didn't have to fight or struggle? And this is going to segue into our next segment here in a minute, but I just wanted to get your opinion on this really quick. Do you think it's because, like, at one time we had to depend on each other, and we had to be a cohesive unit? Do you feel now that there's more freedoms afforded to us? And this is with any group of people that are now in a better space in society. Do you kind of feel that that's part of the reason why, like you said, like we see this fracturing within our community? Do you think that's a part of the reason? Because now that it's a generation that's coming up that didn't have to go through the struggle like those in the past.
I don't know if it's necessarily a generational thing, although it very much might be. I think that just as many of our older LGBT people are just as guilty, I guess, of forgetting our history and just kind of resting on our new found acceptance in the world, and they allow their own privilege in this new world to let them forget of the past. I don't necessarily think it's a generational thing, But I think that we need to, as a community, remember that and be reminded that our community is still vulnerable. We are not safe. I know that I feel like we, as the older generation, have just as much responsibility to the younger generation to tell them, to be the ones that say, remember your history. This is what happened. So we have just as much responsibility to our younger generation as they do to remember our past. And I feel like that's more of a, people have begun to rest on their privilege and the seeming acceptance that the outside world has given them to allow them to forget our past. And that's not something we should ever do.
It's wonderful. So what do you guys think about that? Like, Jonathan, you've been kind of quiet. So what do you feel about that? The question that I just posed.
Repeat the question one more time.
Do you think that this generation, like, since they didn't have to go through some of the struggles of the former generations or the people that from the past had to, the people that kind of established the LGBT community as we know it today, do you kind of feel like that's a reason why there's such a fracturing within the community?
Not necessarily. Because I think that every generation has to have some kind of learning curve, in a sense. I like when we grew up and we finally became aware of things that were going on, including not only just with us as our sexuality, but just growing up in general. We have to learn about everything in general. And then I think we have to hone in on specific things to find out what our history is, what others have gone through, and to really empathize with their struggles. And then we have to put ourselves in their shoes. And eventually, I think the younger generations will come to realize that and even appreciate it. Now, as to fracturing, I think that there are forces out there that are actively trying to fracture us.
I agree.
And some of them are just right out there so that we can all see, like the Trump administration. But then there are others that aren't as noticeable. And eventually they kind of snake their way into our community and then try to sow discord and distrust amongst us. And we really have to try to be aware and see what they're trying to do and fight against that. And sometimes it's really kind of hard to see. I know that the LGBT are not a monolith.
Right.
And the whole reason why I say that is because in the 2016 election, 14% of LGBT voted for Trump.
Ooh.
Now, now whether or not they knew what they were voting for, that's another topic for another day.
We're going to get into that in a future show. Self-hate.
Yeah.
Self-hating queens. We're going to get into that.
There's a chock full, I like to say, for that.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say?
You were just talking about outside forces that are trying to get.
And I even think that they're, as you were mentioning, like self-hating gays, they are out there. And I'm not really sure if it's about education or they need, to be redirected or what. Because I'm trying to understand that myself. But I think that as we have to find a way to try to stick together and, we can beat these forces back.
Yeah.
And we can honestly do it, but it really just takes a lot of self-awareness and education to push back those forces that are going against us.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Philip, do you have something to say before we move on to the next topic? Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to take too much
you
time,
good?
but
Go ahead.
I really need to talk about this too, because this hits home for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the people who I hope are listening, especially family members and, you know, people who've known me, I came out when I was 25, so not very long. I recently came out, and, you know, beforehand, I didn't know what it meant to be gay, or all these terms like what it means to be a twink, a jock, or a daddy, or all this nonsense. You know, for a lot of people, it's hard to come out, especially when you're a person of color, especially when you grew up Baptist in the church, and then, you know, they tell you all the time, you know, this is wrong. You shouldn't be feeling this way. But you can't tell a person, you know, to not feel a certain way if they don't know where those feelings came from. And so when a person comes out, whether they're self-hating or not, they're trying to look for acceptance. And that's all I ever wanted from the gay community was acceptance. I couldn't find it anywhere else, not even in my own church. But I had to go where the acceptance was. But the thing about it is, pride to me isn't the parade. It isn't, you know, waving rainbow flags. No, pride is being secure in yourself as a person. And you don't even have to be gay to feel proud. The thing about it is, what's really driving the division between everyone else in the gay community is that we have a hard time, and including myself, separating from what we are attracted to and what type of people we're attracted to just basically having the means of conversing with people who happen to have the same interests that we do, even if we're not attracted to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes. I mean, am I not used to seeing,
Agreed.
you know, transsexuals or cross-dressers or you know, people who identify a certain gender? No. But that does not give me the right, or any person the right for that matter, to say, oh, these are horrible people based on the way they look, because you don't even know. I mean, it wasn't long ago that someone called me a pervert just because I came out. How would you know? How would you know how a person, what a person is based on what they look like? When you've never even walked a day in their shoes, when you've never talked to them or, you know, sat with them. Some people treat us like we're diseased. And, you know, it's funny because between all of us, we were all born in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in 1989. And for a lot of people in 1989, being a Hoosier, I never knew who Ryan White was.
Yeah.
A 12-year-old kid who died from HIV due to a blood transfusion, who wasn't even gay, probably didn't even know what it meant. And you already had the whole town, you know, Kokomo. You know, I'm not dissing Kokomo. I'm just saying back then, they labeled this kid every name imaginable. And I didn't know who Ryan White was until I saw the exhibit at the Children's Museum. And, you know, and I was a baby, not only when Ryan White was, you know, on his deathbed, but the first Bush administration had denied funding for HIV/AIDS research for medications and possibly prevention, which we are now benefiting in 2019, 30 years later. So the thing about it is, what Jonathan said, you know, we have to come together in, you know, and what you said, Tyler, as, you know, as far as unifying as a group, the thing about it is, if you know what it's like to be ousted and to be singled out and to be judged, why would you do that to people in your own community?
Yeah.
I mean, what really infuriates me is that when I did come out, and when I tried to meet other people in the community, the first thing that I heard was, oh, I'm sorry, no fats, no femmes, no blacks, no ricers, no beaners, no this, no that. Are you serious? So if we're about community, then why are we labeling each other these things that cause division? So this is a better time than ever to be a family because, like I said, the older generation, which, I talk to a lot of people in the older generation. And it's like what Seneca said, some of them, they really did have to stick together. And for those of you who watch, FX or Netflix, I really think you should watch Pose.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that show in a little bit.
Yep. And then the documentary Paris is Burning that talks about the underground ballroom culture that we as people of color have coined as, our crowning achievement in trying to come together as a group of vagabonds and rejected people who got kicked out of their parents' homes. Back then, that was the place to be. That was the place of community. They would take you in, feed you, clothe you, and we need that here. We need that again. Because, whether you're part of an older or a younger generation, we all know what it's like to feel rejected, whether it's by our parents or by our friends or even by our country.
Mm-hmm.
But we are people. That's what pride should be, is telling people we are people. We're still human. Okay? We should not look at each other based on our preferences or our orientation or whatever nonsense. We should look at each other based on what our names are, what we like to do, what we do as a career, what our hopes, what our dreams are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing about it. That's what pride means to me. And, we shouldn't just use it as a superficial term during a pride event like a parade or a get together. No, it should be all year round.
We have a comment that just came in. We had in the chat, and I'm going to read this. This came from Lauren. She writes, "How can someone be upset about others showing hate towards them about being gay, but yet they show hate towards their own LGBTQ family? That's hypocritical." And that's exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm, that's exactly what I just said. Because when I came out, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting to feel like I was in high school where everyone is in a clique at the lunch table. I was shocked, honestly, because I thought by coming out, like most people, you would finally get friends that get you. But that could be further from the truth.
And I'm going to tell you, Philip, I had that same experience coming out because you have, like especially when you turn of age to be able to actually go out to the bars, go out and mingle more and stuff like that. I had a totally different, like what I thought in my mind versus what I actually experienced were two different things. When I went out, I was like, man, I'm so happy I can go out now. I can meet people and just have a good time. Just be around people that are like me. But when I went out, it was just like, especially here in Indianapolis, I can't speak for anywhere else because this is where I'm from. Even though I've been to other places, been to other cities and stuff, but it's so cliquish. Like from a person, I feel more love in some of the straight bars and establishments than in the gay establishments. Shoot. It's so bubbled. It's like so cliquish. Like you can't penetrate that bubble. Like people have their own sex, their own bubbles, their own. It's hard to be someone that's coming out of the closet, going into these social spaces and trying to get to know people and stuff like that. And then even when you get to know people, you have to worry about, am I penetrating or am I getting into a circle that is problematic? Because although you may find refuge, quote unquote, with a group of gays, like sometimes these people can be toxic. You don't know. It's very difficult to find spaces where we can be comfortable amongst positive, or you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
It should not. The gay apps should not transcend to the bars.
Yeah.
It should not feel like we're in a live gay app where we're just swiping people as we go to get our drinks.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to just talking to people and saying, "Hi, how you doing?" Instead we get the cold shoulder and everyone's just buried in their phones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah. So Seneca, you're right. I mean, in some places other than the gay bar, we do feel, like we're included. But it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think you said it best when you were saying that people get this idea that if you don't want to fuck someone, you don't want to hang out with them. That's, first of all, gross, and also just a ridiculous way to
It's like that's not how you become friends with someone. Mm-mm.
That's almost like
So, yeah,
incest.
I would love to challenge everyone here, like us and the people listening and watching, like, be the accepting, be the outgoing, be the inclusive person that you want to see, that you wanted, that you needed. That's the only way that it's ever going to change, is if we as individuals decide that I'm going to be the person who says, like that person who comes up to me in the bar and starts talking to me, or that person who I meet that maybe I don't want to have sex with, maybe I don't have anything in common with them. Talk to them. Be the outgoing, be the accepting, be the person that they need at that moment, because they are worthy of that.
Right.
Each of us are worthy of that.
Now I'm gonna say this, Tyler, because I want y'all to chime in on this. Do you think that's probably why a lot of the gay bars are dying off? Because now the straight people are, like the straight, quote unquote, straight community, or the straight bars are taking advantage of, like, we aren't getting this thing right. So now they're taking over and they're we're gonna be welcoming, we're gonna get these gay dollars and stuff like that.
But we're still gonna be straight doing it.
Right. So that's probably why, a lot of the gay bars are dying out, because of all this foolishness that we have going on within the gay community. So, like, now the straight people will say, we're going to capitalize off these queers, even though we don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the dollar. And we need
like they're coveting us.
Yeah. So it's like, we better get this thing together before our community totally dies off. Because everybody's benefiting off of us. Like, you see these prides now, they're all corporate sponsored. And I was talking to Jonathan, like, years ago, people, even 5 years ago, people wouldn't even want to even have their brand attached to the LGBT community. You know what I'm saying? But now they see that there is money and there's profit within attaching themselves to our community. Now they're taking over and they're taking advantage of what we should have been tapping into years ago.
Nice. See why I was skeptic about it.
Right.
It's too corporate.
I feel like we've seen that. I don't know if any of the rest of you saw the issues that are going down in Chicago with one of their bars, and the music selection that they've stopped playing certain music because they don't want to be because it's associated with people of color.
Ooh,
and,
give us a tea on that.
Anymore. And it's those kinds of decisions that we make in our own communities, that these bars, that these gay people make, that are fracturing our community, that are breaking it apart, and that are letting these corporate sponsors, quote unquote, come in and use our community to make money.
So, in other words, we're victims of our own success?
In as much, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's sad to say, but we become so used to being accepted that we feel like we don't have to be accepting.
Okay. I want to give a shout out to Davion. He is a very popular YouTube commentator on YouTube, and he talks about a lot of LGBT issues. Beautiful person, just all around this positive energy. I want to give him a shout out. He's in the chat right now. He's going to probably be calling here in a little bit.
Oh,
but I just wanted to let you know that we do have the lines open for anybody that wants to call in. And for those who want to call in, you can call in at 646-595-3515. Once again, that's 646-595-3515. So we're going to move on really quick, and I'm going to wait for him to call in because I'm watching the lines to see when that number pops up. But I'm going to go to a clip because we need to kind of break down the history behind Pride, because a lot of people don't know what Pride is. A lot of people think that Pride is just this yearly thing that we have in multiple cities where we just come and dance, party, just, go in, have a good time, go forth, But I want to go to a clip that was put out there by the History Channel, and it's about like a 3 or 4 minute clip, just kind of breaking down the history behind Pride, because as you guys know, we are now celebrating the 50th year of Stonewall.
Yep.
And I feel that we need to all know why we celebrate Pride and the significance behind it. So after I play this clip, I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
In the early morning hours of June 28, 1969, a riot broke out in front of the Stonewall Inn in New York City. The violent protest became known as the Stonewall Riots. The Stonewall Riots were a watershed moment in the gay rights movement, sparking activism and awareness across the United States. We'll look at the roots of the riots, the events, and their lasting impact. In the 1950s and 60s, homosexuality was still considered sodomy and illegal in 49 states. The punishments varied greatly by state, ranging from heavy fines to imprisonment. In society, members of the gay community were often subject to violence, harassment, and discrimination. In New York City, gay bars were havens for people with diverse sexual orientations and gender identities, places where they could avoid harassment and violence. The Stonewall Inn served as a popular refuge. The Stonewall Inn was owned by the Mafia. The Mafia bribed the police to look the other way. In turn, the Mafia made money overcharging patrons for drinks. Even so, the patrons were not fully safe from homophobia and discrimination. The Mafia would extort wealthy patrons, threatening to out them to their employers and families. Despite the Mafia's bribes, the police still regularly raided the Stonewall Inn and other gay bars, charging them with solicitation of homosexual relations. Trans and other gender nonconforming people were also targeted, subjected to violence, and arrested if they weren't wearing what the police deemed gender-appropriate clothing. This oppression and mistreatment came to a head in the early morning hours of June 28, 1969. 9 police officers entered the Stonewall Inn in a raid. The patrons were fed up. As the police roughly tried to arrest bartenders and customers, many resisted. Outside the bar, people in the hundreds began rioting. They threw bottles at police and pushed through the barricades. The police officers retreated from the crowd and locked themselves inside the Stonewall Inn. Rioters responded by setting the bar on fire. Police reinforcement arrived, and the original officers managed to get out of the burning bar. Meanwhile, the angry mob had grown into thousands. Eventually, the police were able to get the crowd to disperse, but it didn't last long. The riots continued until July 1st. While some criticized the violent and destructive riots, others pointed to the brutality and unjust treatment of the gay community. This large-scale defiance made a massive impact on society. The Stonewall Riots were the beginning of the modern gay liberation movement, which also brought attention to others marginalized for their sexual or gender orientation. The riots sparked the formation of the Gay Liberation Front, the first group to publicly advocate for equal gay rights. On the 1-year anniversary of the riots, they also organized the first Gay Pride Parade. Today, Pride events are still held on the anniversary of the Stonewall Riots in cities around the country and even the world. In 2016, President Obama made the Stonewall Inn in the area outside where the riots broke out a national monument. This became the first national monument celebrating gay history. The Stonewall Riots may have been violent, but they marked a pivotal moment in history. No longer would people quietly endure the stigma associated with their sexual and gender orientation. Through the Stonewall Riots, the gay rights movement gained mainstream visibility and a momentum that continues to this day.
All right, we are back. So for those of you who didn't know a lot of this information, I believe that clip very well put that into context in what we're talking about. And Philip, he already started the conversation about what is Pride, so we're going to get into that now. But before we do that, I just want to tell you guys, I apologize in the chat. I put in the wrong number. I typed it in wrong. The number, once again, is 646-595-3515. So I hope if Davion's got that wrong number. I hope he sees that. But we have another comment from Lauren. She says, I feel as though everyone deserves love no matter where it comes from. I was taught to love people no matter what type of lifestyle they live. Love towards others always conquers all. I love y'all from the moon and back, and I support y'all always and forever. So that comes from Lauren. So we want to
Thank you, Lauren.
yes,
Thank
we want
you.
to thank you for first of all. I just want to thank
Thank you,
everybody
Lauren.
that has been listening to us. We really appreciate our allies as well as our fellow LGBTQ family. So now, Philip, we already got your point of view on what pride is. Jonathan, what's pride to you? We have about 25 minutes, so we're going to kind of move along, but I want you to tell me what is pride to you?
I'm just going to kind of put this as simply and succinctly as I can. It's just being able to live my life without fear, without judgment. And that's what I want for everyone else. And feel free to love who you love. And live and let live. That's it. That, to me, that's as simple as I can put it.
That sounds good. Tyler, what's pride to you?
I kind of want to echo Jonathan a little bit, but I want to say that pride is about being honest with yourself about who you
Yes.
are. Pride starts inside. It's not something that, starts with, waving flags on the street. It's something that starts inside of you, and it's something that you have to, a place you have to get to with your own emotions, with your own mind, within yourself, before it can be shown outside. It's something that you need to be able to feel. You need to feel honestly and truly yourself to be able to love who you want to love, to be able to be who you are in this world. You have to be strong, and that strength comes from inside, and that strength comes from your own pride.
Amen.
Ooh, I like that.
Amen to that.
Ooh, he did that. He
Can I-
did that. You're going-
Oh, sorry. I want to contribute to this too. Because like I said, I'm not trying to talk about myself, everyone. I mean, I just really feel like, what Tyler said is true. I mean, that's what pride starts with. It starts with yourself. And, for me, it's not really what it means to be gay. It's like what it means to be comfortable in your own skin. There's a lot of people who suffer from depression, mental illness, mental stability, a lot of tension, and even self-hatred. I mean, it's really hard when you have this secret that you've been carrying for a long time. And, you have loving parents too. Now, my parents, they didn't do what most parents did in the early 2000s, kick you out of the house and, threaten to disown you. But it does pain you when you are constantly told, well, maybe you haven't found the right woman, or maybe it's just a phase, or maybe things will change, or maybe something happened in your childhood. But you see, it's none of those things. It's just some people need to accept there are some people who are attracted to what they're attracted to.
Mhm.
And that shouldn't be something to define them only as a person.
Right.
That's just a part of them.
Mm-hmm.
And to make that hurdle, to accept that within yourself and say, I'm not a bad person. This is who I am. And I'm okay with it. And I don't care what anyone else says. If they're not willing to accept me for who I am, then they should not be a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pride is. Pride is accepting the fact that not everyone is going to like you, not everyone is going to accept you, but at the same time, you as a gay person shouldn't be bitter towards them. There are just some people who just don't understand, and it might take them a long time for them to realize that this guy is a human being and not just a gay man. He's a man, or a gay woman. She's a woman. Or a person, or people who don't identify with the gender. They're still people. And you may not have to accept me or anyone else here in this conversation. But all we ask is that, take the time to know us before you make a judgment about us.
Right.
And so, if a lot more self-hating gays actually did that, then there wouldn't be any need for this toxic behavior.
Mm-hmm. I'll just say this really quick. To me, I guess I'm at a point in my life where it's just beyond, okay, I don't necessarily care if you believe that gay people, like, I don't care what you believe about gay people. That's just whatever. But to me, with me being a tax-paying citizen and being a citizen of this country,
Yes.
I want equal protection under the law. I want to be able to not live in fear of being attacked, not only just by civilians on the street or just people on the street, but by our law enforcement and our government officials. I feel that that's why we have to value our vote. We have to leverage our vote, because these people are in their office and they're changing all this legislation and doing this, that, and the other. And you know who I blame? I blame us, because we're not getting involved. We're not vetting these people. We don't know where they stand on these issues. And either by you sitting at home not voting, or you not getting involved with your legislator, not reading up on these issues, knowing where these people stand, you are a part of the problem. And people don't want to hear that. And I'm sorry if you don't want to hear that, but I feel that if you are not a part of the solution, you are a part of the problem.
Yes.
You can't afford to be complacent, especially for this next coming election in 2020.
Yes.
No, don't just, especially not just gays, but people of color and women too, regardless of what political party you believe in. Seneca's right. I would just say it like this. Don't have this, I don't care who wins as long as they beat the other guy attitude. That kind of nonsense is what got us to where we are now in our current state of our government. So it's not, your president's fault or your Congress's fault. It's you as the voter. If you didn't pay attention to what was going on, or if you just simply did not vote because you don't think it matters, well, honey, let me tell you something. It does matter.
Right.
So please pay attention to what's going on.
All right, yeah, I'm going to jump in here really quick. I believe this is Davion that's calling in from Conscious TV. We're going to go to the lines, and we're going to get his perspective on the topic today. Caller 843-707. Is this Davion? Or is this?
You better not call my whole number out.
You know I ain't gonna do that, because these people out here, these crazy people out here doxing people. But yeah, I just want to thank you first of all. Like, I'm telling you, like, if you guys have not checked out his content, go on YouTube and check out Conscious TV. I mean, not only does he talk about gay lifestyle and LGBT type of topics, but he talks about spirituality. He just talks about a whole gamut of things, reviews and everything. So I really thank you for coming on here today, especially with this being our first podcast on this network. So I just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what is Pride to you, because we know this is June, the month of Pride. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, your what you have going on, and what is gay pride to you?
Well, thank you for that shout out. And I want to say that I appreciate what you're creating as well as the same gender loving man. I believe in supporting each other, especially as content creators, and certainly supporting conversations that are actually meaningful and that can be impactful and that actually solicit substance. Because I think too much of the time when it comes to our community, it becomes too saturated in secularism, and there's still a lack of knowing who we are spiritually, knowing who we are emotionally, understanding our own relationship to our bodies, understanding some of the trauma that LGBT people have experienced as a result of the rejection, of the abuse, and the marginalization of this community. And so there's a lot of PTSD, there's a lot of insecurity, there's a lot of abandonment issues that have developed in most same-sex identifying individuals, including trans women and trans men, that are going unchecked. And there's a real call to concerns around mental health as it relates to this community. And I know that people don't like to hear this, but there is a
should be members of this community. So I feel like I don't know why we abandon these conversations, and I don't know why we act like there's not a big elephant in the room as it relates to the mental health of LGBT people across the board. Not to mention the lack of intersectionality that exists within Black queer people within these spaces. Because you have the issue of being a Black American, and then you also have the issue of being trans and or homosexual and or lesbian. So I appreciate this conversation. Now, as it relates to pride, pride to me, simply put, within the context, is just being celebratory of truth. And it's about being able to stand in the indefinite reality of yourself. Those would be the things that are the absolutes about who you are, the absolutes about your essence as an individual. So taking pride in anything that makes you who you are and being able to hold on to that and be empowered by that, regardless of the external circumstances, is what pride is. So in the instance of us, that would be being sexually, gender, and sensually liberated within ourselves and having full agency over our own attitude toward ourselves and not kind of partaking in the apple of society that tells you that you are something other than normal, you are something other than human, you are something other than natural. And just being able to walk in unity to that and to prioritize your own feelings and to prioritize your own attitude over self, irregardless of the external resistance to that.
And I believe you definitely you hit the nail right on the head. As far as like your experiences as being a member of the LGBT community, what is your coming out story? And especially in your part of the country, like how is the gay community? Is it as cohesive as it should be? And as far as like racial relations, like how is it, within the community, how is that in your opinion?
That's an interesting question.
I know.
Yeah, that's the most multifaceted question because here in the South, I mean, I'm in South Carolina, so obviously, like, race relations are a huge thing, and unfortunately, the gay community here in South Carolina is very much so segregated. There is white pride, there's Black pride, there's white clubs, there's Black gay clubs, there's an obvious lack of intersectionality on both ends. And I mean, I guess my experience in terms of coming out, I had a rather pleasant experience in terms of my support system. Like, my family didn't give me too much of a hard time. My friends didn't give me too much of a hard time. But the biggest thorn in my ass in terms of the things that I battled with had to do with spirituality. Just being raised with Christian belief, wanting to have a relationship, a thorough, healthy, and intimate relationship with God, and having that intersected by this issue of sexuality. Like, how can I be close to God as a same-gender loving man? How can I nurture my own spirituality within the context of Christian theology? And that really was something that brought me so much depression that I contemplated suicide as a teenager because I just couldn't wrap my mind around how to combat the issue of my sexual identity with my spiritual identity. So for me, I didn't have a lot of issues in terms of the community at large. I do understand a lot of the issues. I mean, there is a lot of self-hate within this community, even as same-gender loving men. There's still even a discrimination that same-gender loving men have for trans women specifically. And there's a lot of ignorance even within our community surrounding gender identity and gender expression. So you even have privilege that exists in this marginalized group. You have tops who are celebrated over bottom. You have the concept of being a bottom used as a way to incite degradedness upon one another and to bottom or to be the receiver or to be the submissive principal in a relationship is somehow an insult. You have this issue of the glorification of masculinity. And then you get into the issue of trade. You get into the issue of, why is someone more masculine, more celebrated rather than somebody more feminine in this community? Why are all the Man Crush Mondays, some dripping, large body, Fabio as the symbol? Then we get into just even the body types and the vanity of the community. I mean, there's a lot there.
Right.
And even not celebrating people whom you're commercially attracted. But I think it's easy on our community as it relates to some of our superficial, vain standards, because I realize that when you strip people of their ability to relate to God, they can't develop their self in any other capacity other than through materialistic standards. So you're going to tell me that I mean nothing, the creator of this universe. Well, I have to find my meaning somewhere. So I'm going to find my value in this society based upon how I look, based upon how I live, based upon what I drive, based upon what I own, based upon my visibility and my popularity, because you stripped away my inner essence. But yet I still have to thrive, and I have to be here, and I have to have some form of a self-esteem, even if I am developing that self-esteem in these egregious, egoic ass ways. So I feel like the vanity is the side effect of LGBT people not being aligned spiritually. So it's a problem, but I understand why it's just the way that it is.
Wow. Yeah, I just want to thank you for calling in. We're gonna have to get you on here in the future, because I know we got like about 12 minutes left in our podcast. But I really want to thank you, and I just want to tell you that we appreciate having voices like you in the community, because so many times we don't get that spiritual aspect of who we are. Like, we talk about everything else, but I think the spiritual aspect is just as important as all the other elements that we're talking about.
Yes,
so we're definitely gonna have to have you on this show again.
Yeah, please do.
Because I just believe in the work that you're doing, and I just feel that we need to start, because I know you can relate to this. I'm all for having a little fun, roasting it or whatever, but so many times I see on platforms like YouTube, we're not using these platforms effectively like we need to, especially in this time that we're living in. There's so many serious things that we need to be tackling as people of the LGBT community, especially those in the people of color in the LGBT community. So I want to thank you for, just having a platform where it's just positive energy and just positivity in general.
Absolutely. Like, I would love to have a full-on conversation about this. And, I just started my podcast, so I would love to have you guys on.
Definitely.
And to kind of have a conversation for sure. So
definitely.
I'll be definitely interested in that.
I'll be in touch with you, and for sure. All right. There you go. This is Mr. Davion. Huh?
Yes, you guys keep up the good work.
Thank
you.
you.
What y'all doing? Please keep the conversations going. Like, I love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Davion.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, guys. We have a few more minutes left in the podcast. I want to get on for the last couple minutes. Pose. Like, Pose is coming back this Tuesday, June 11th. And I know that y'all have been waiting on this new season for, it's been, I don't know, is it?
Well, I didn't even know.
It's been a year.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a new season, because fortunately we don't have access to FX, because the first season came on Netflix. So I don't know how long it'll be before it's on Netflix again. But
probably another year.
Yeah. But I really love
I
this
can
show.
so help you. We're gonna have a watch party. We'll have to have a watch party.
Can we please do that?
Y'all want to do that? Like,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully my schedule allows it. But yeah.
But yeah, I just feel that this show is definitely. I think it is a show that it's a landmark as far as like entertainment is concerned, because we've had shows that are geared towards. I mean, we've had that, but I just think with it just being so raw and just being upfront and honest about, you know, the underground
this was
scene.
a show that needed to be made.
Yeah, it was definitely needed to be made. And I think a lot of people can identify with the characters on Pose. So I'm glad that they were willing to take that risk by delving into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and that's why that brings back to what I'm saying earlier.
Not
Like
just the characters. Yeah. Not just the characters, the actors too. The whole meta thing behind that show is that we have 6 main characters who are played, or trans women who are played by actual trans women.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like actual
landmark in itself.
representation. But yeah, I mean, what's great about here's what I really like about this show. It gives you a newfound perspective of trans people, for people who don't really know a whole lot about the trans community. Like, you're able to identify with the main characters, and because beforehand, when you didn't see a show like this, you would be like, oh, who's this? Are they a woman or a man? I can't tell. But when you watch Pose, that doesn't matter, because you get to see into their lives. You get to see, you know, that it's not just about ballroom culture. It's about survival. These people really had to survive during that time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't know anything about ball culture until Jonathan told me about the documentary Paris is Burning. So Pose is kind of like an extension of that. So I did not know anything about voguing. I didn't know anything about, you know, ballroom culture, or the terms like what it means to slay, or the face, or the body. I'm like, no one realizes that a lot of people tend to use these phrases as if they coined them themselves, but they didn't. It was a community underground in New York City, a group of people of color who were trans, who were gay, who came up with this culture that we are now glorifying in 2019. Now everyone's using the word slay and work, bitch, and all that
Appropriation
stuff.
of our culture. That's the culture. That if you want to talk about cultural appropriation, that is a perfect example.
I mean, hell, we're not strangers to that.
Yeah. So,
as for me, I have. It's been a while since I've actually found a show where not only does it speak to me, but I've been so emotionally invested in it, and I honestly cannot wait for the next episode. And I don't binge watch it because they only had 8 episodes, so I just made it to where I just watched one episode a week, and it just really got to me in some areas, especially during the height of the AIDS crisis, when you actually got to see the nitty gritty of what happens to these people when they get the virus. And
they have to give it their all.
And it was incredibly disturbing, enlightening, and a whole host of other emotions that I just really can't describe.
Like, these people literally were, like RuPaul said it, they were not lip syncing, but they were working for their legacy, for their lives, because really they were on borrowed time.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God! I mean, it was sad. These bubbly people, you would have never thought that they were facing death. I mean, we should be thankful. We should all be very thankful that 30 years later, we don't have to worry about HIV being a death sentence.
Right.
Because back then, it was limited resources, limited technology. Like, if you had to really live your life to the fullest.
Hey, Phil, let me jump in here real quick.
Yeah, please.
Let me jump in here real quick, guys. We have one more caller, and I'm going to have them. They have about a minute to say what they have to say, because we're going to be getting off the air pretty soon.
It's a 574 number. It's my hometown.
Yay. All right. Area code 574, you're online. Do you have a question or a comment? Or are you just listening?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I don't imagine you just make a job, and I can't really listen on the computer or a call. Well, what I got to do? I just continue to. Yeah.
Y'all can hear me.
Yeah, you are. I just continue to listen. I just had to call because I can't use the computer to do it at the job. That's all I got.
Okay, I appreciate you. Just keep on supporting us and listening to us. And we want to thank you for just joining us for our first show. And yeah, just thank you. I appreciate the encouragement. So keep a lookout for us. We're gonna be doing some great things. All righty. All right, guys, we have about a minute and a half left. I just want to thank you. This show, to me, was a major success, the first episode. I think we're going to probably do 2 hours. I think 2 hours would be good because I was just testing out the hour and a half and see where it would go. But I think 2 hours would be sufficient for this broadcast. So, I mean, what do you guys think about the success of the show? Do you guys think it went well for the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to do it again.
Yes,
Yeah,
please. Thanks, Seneca, for having us on your inaugural show. I mean, this was great. I can't wait for the next.
We done had YouTube personalities call in. We done had these people. I mean, I just want to thank everybody. Like, I mean, I know the comment section on my Facebook Live has been lit and everything. There's been so many people that just have been watching tonight. So this is not gonna be the last show. We're gonna have guests come on. It's gonna develop over time. So just stay with us. And anybody else have anything else to say before we jump off? Or Tyler, I want to thank you too. We've been talking about doing this for almost over 6 months. So I'm glad we got this together. And I really am happy that this has just been a positive show. No drama, no negativity. And that's what we're about on this network. So until next time, I know we got 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Spread the word. Tell everyone.
We've been talking about it for so long. Yeah.
All right. Well, I will talk to you guys off the line. We might stay on Facebook Live for a little while longer. The stream has went off now, but we're still on Facebook Live. So I guess this kind of be like our little after show or whatever. But I just want to use this as an opportunity to tell everybody to check us out on YouTube, because I'm going to place this up on our YouTube channel at the Urban Wire Media Network. And also, we're going to be having this show. The show's going to be on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, and Google. So we're going to be on various platforms. So when I said we're going to do something big, I meant we're going to do something big. So spread the word. I know between us, we know a lot of people in the LGBT community. So I feel that we need to be spreading this word, because I feel that in Indianapolis, I think we do have great potential here. And I think this will be a tool to kind of like promote our city, So I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, should we do this on every 2 weeks, kind of like, since everybody's scheduled, like 2 weeks, so we don't get burned out? Yeah.
I mean, yes, if we can try to keep it on a weekend day, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I like that. And especially my work schedule now, like I'm going to be having overtime the next 3 weeks. So this Sunday is a good day. I think it's a real chill, relaxed day. There's not too many people doing anything on Sundays. So, I know Fridays and Saturdays and stuff, like people are busy, but I think on Sundays people can unwind and just, chill and I think this is a good day.
Yep, I agree.
And as for my work schedule, every other Sunday works for me.
Okay. And if you guys know anybody else that want to call in the show or want to be on the on the what's the panel, just let me know. Like anybody that wants to, if you want to sponsor the show or you want to advertise on the show, just email me at seharris02@gmail.com. Some of you might even have my be on my Facebook page. Send me a message or whatever, but we're really trying to make this a big thing. And I'm glad that we were able to actually get this up and off the ground because we've been talking about this for months. And I'm glad that I was just like, you know what? We might as well just go on ahead and do it, quit talking about it, and just get it off the ground. So this is just going to be one of many shows on my network. We already have 2. This is show number 2 that's on the Urban Wire network. We do have the Urban Wire podcast where we talk about a lot of news and politics in a general, generally, but this is going to be aimed more towards LGBTQ issues. And I'm going to be getting more content creators, people that are in entertainment and stuff like that. So be on the lookout. Like my vision for the show is going to be something major. So if you guys know anybody that you want interviewed, or if you got a story that you want to tell on the show, just feel free to reach out to me. Like this is the community's platform. This is not my platform. This is the community's platform. So if you have a story that you feel that is going to be beneficial to the people.
Yeah, we want to hear more people.
So it's just about empowerment. I'm just not, it's already enough roasting and gagging going on out here. I just, and we're going to talk about entertainment and stuff, but I just want to keep this positive, Yeah. So
I do like a good roasting, but we need to
get serious because with 2020 coming, like we don't have time to be playing around. We really don't. Like I see so many things that are being reversed as far as legislation is concerned. Like, hell, we look at stuff dealing with the whole entire abortion topic of abortion. That could even have the possibility of being reversed. So like I'm saying, like it's them today, but it could be us tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really be serious about what is going on in government. We can't sit back and say, have this, with our heads in the sand being like, well, this doesn't impact me. So I don't, I'm not worrying about it because like I said, it could be one group today of people that are being marginalized and it could be you tomorrow. So we have to really be serious about this thing, guys. So that's all I have to say. So is that it?
I agree.
So anybody got anything else to say?
I feel like we should save it for the next time.
All right.
Or else we'll be here all night.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. I'll be in contact with you guys.
Gotta save stuff for next time.
Oh, and let's have that post party because I really want to see the second.
It's gonna be Tuesday though, ain't it? It's coming on Tuesday, ain't it?
I gotta find out.
Okay.
And that shouldn't affect me. I'll be free.
Okay. We'll talk about it off the air. We'll set it up. All right, guys. Thank you.
Definitely.
Bye, Tyler.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Ooh, this was fun.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Oh, it's a British voice.
It should sound like Patricia Rutledge. Thank you for using
now, cuz I know you ain't coming on here now, cuz you done missed all the tea. Like I see, my cousin Chan, I want to give her a shout out. She's out there in the audience. Girl, you missed it. Honey. Chan, I want you to we're doing the after show right now for a few minutes. We just sticking around here. The official show's done. But do you mind calling me real quick so we can have you on air? Like you want to call my phone and then we can put you live on air, or you can tell us what you thought about Pride this year. Because I can call you if you want if you want to talk for a minute. Hold up, give me a second. I'm a ring you in. Cause honey, we need to get some.
Oh man, I wish I could have stayed longer to get that discount food that y'all were talking about yesterday.
Baby, I know she about to give us the 411. We're gonna call her real quick.
That's what we need to talk more about. It's like
I know because I was mad about them prices. Cousin, what is going on, girl? Honey, you missed a good show. We talked about everything on the show. We even had somebody.
I know, because see, what happened was I was doing my Naraya photo shoot.
Oh.
We just got home, so that's when I seen that you went live. I'm like, let me go and tune in and see what's going on, because I seen that the topic said about pride. I'm like, oh yeah, let me tune into this, because I got a lot to say.
Well, you know, this is gonna be our after show, so I'm putting this up on line too. But our official show's over with. But I want you to tell me, what is pride to you? Like, you being an ally, because I want to tell you, like, this is my cousin. I consider this like my favorite cousin. She's always been accepting of me. She's always just been like, we've always cut up together growing up. Like, I just want to first of all tell you that I appreciate everything that you've always done for me, just the encouragement and just you just being there as a true family. Like, I just want.
You know, you my favorite. We've always been close since we was like, how long were we running around doing them shows that you're doing now?
Wait a minute.
Always gonna be something.
Remember them talk shows I used to do on that tape recorder back in?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've been doing this since we was like knee-high. So, you know, I've always supported you. Like, and, you know, I appreciate that you appreciate me. So, you know, it's ongoing. I'm always be here. I'm always support.
And I appreciate that. So let me tell you, what is your opinion of pride this year? Because now we done got all this serious stuff out the way. It's time for us to clown, because it was some foolishness, some fool-la-la that we seen.
Wait, some foolishness down there? Lord have mercy.
Ooh, I want to hear this.
Honey, first of all, I need to ask you, what you think about these women walking around here with their titties, with these titties hanging out?
Oh, man.
Somebody else just did another live on that about the girls with their titties out with the little tapes on them or whatever. And she actually liked it. I thought it was different, but I'm going to be a little honest. Some people shouldn't have done it. Okay? Some people titties was longer than a Monday. But that's okay. You know what I mean?
Not longer than Monday. And you know Mondays can be long, honey.
I was like, it just came out of
nowhere. I'm all about expressing yourself. That's why I like going to Pride every year. I appreciate you inviting me. I swear to God, since I've been going, since you introduced me to it, I can't turn back. It's just like I support 1,000%. I love it. I love the freeness of it. But like I said, some people shouldn't be as free. You need to cover up.
Yeah. And we talked about this, like, it's all about expressing yourself. But I just kind of feel like people need to do it within taste. Especially since there are children that are at that event. Like, you can't.
You know what? So the girls that you saw me with, we were talking about that, because I don't know if you've seen my video on the timeline on Facebook, because I didn't put it actually on Facebook. I put it on the story, but it was people on there like twerking in front of those kids at the dance station. I don't know if that's what you call it, but. They were twerking in front of those babies, and me and my friends was just looking like, what the hell? Like, this is not a place for kids. It just,
I'm glad
feel
she's
like
talking about this.
That was a place for kids. I really do.
Now, and let me ask you this, like, girl, what do you think about them prices of that food? Because I'm gonna tell you, I was pissed off.
It was ridiculous. And that's another thing that they need to talk about. Whoever is over that committee with, forming the pride, or, however they go about it, somebody needs to go on that board and talk about those food prices. Because a lot of people were turning away from those trucks, too.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to comment them directly on their Facebook page. I'm not sure if I did it right, but yeah, you're right. I'm like, come on, really? Not even state fair prices are this high.
Me and Susan were talking about that. $25 for shrimp and fries, and $25 for nachos,
and $20 for lemonade.
No, that was unethical what they did.
The chicken kebab, now that was reasonable.
Now you did tell us about that. Now tell them about that chicken kebab station that we went to. Because I'm telling you that.
I liked it. It was real good, but I just felt like they could have been a little more professional.
Yeah.
They were kind of getting out of pocket with the people, but they got to understand they were the most affordable out there, just in my opinion. So of course you're going to have a lot of customers, because all those other trucks were just outrageous.
Mm-hmm. And this is what we were talking about in the show. there's a lot of people that take advantage of the gay community. Like, we don't even appreciate our own community, but these people are out there taking advantage of us, and they know that we represent like a large amount as far as like there's a lot of money in our community. So that's why it was easy for them to come in and charge those astronomical prices. That's ridiculous. It should have never gotten to that point.
Yeah, I feel like they knew what to expect this year, so it's just like, oh, let's overcharge and basically like it was almost like they tested the waters with their pride event, like, let me see how much I can make,
right? Instead
of just trying to put themselves out there. Let people taste the food before we try to pay that much. Let the community decide if their food is worth that much.
That's true.
I think it was down to the damn if it was Ruth Chris. I'm not paying no $25. Not for that, not no park.
And here's my thing, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I thought at first, I said this girl get that plate back. I said, girl, what kind of fool la la is this? But honey, I thought it was kind of ghetto, but then we got up there and heard them prices. I said, girl, I don't blame her for leaving that plate up there.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for her, we would have known, about the bait and switch. So, at first, like, oh, here we go, another disgruntled customer. But no, she was right. There was $50 a plate for some.
Honey, them people was going off about them prices up there. We got up, the closer we got up to the front, the more grumbling and bumbling we heard, child.
They don't tell you.
I missed that part of it, but I did catch it as people, as we were walking around to see what we could afford and what we could eat. And those drinks were outrageous too. But I felt like we should have got more drinks and more liquor in a bigger cup for the prices that they were charging. That was outrageous as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no.
That's one way to kill a party.
Massachusetts and get a drink on a special.
But girl, let me tell you this, cause you go to Chicago, we go to Chicago, Pride, baby. They got deal. Let me tell you, you go, that food is lit. Even in Atlanta, they got, man. I'm telling you. For one, the Pride events aren't gated off like we some caged monkeys at the Indianapolis Zoo.
Oh, like, did she listen to her? Oh, she just joined in, right? She didn't listen to what I said about that.
No, she just joined in.
Okay.
And then like maybe they had fried chicken, fried fish. They had soul food.
I know you were telling me about it, and it makes me want to go now, just to go down there to be going. Just like you just informed me that, I don't know if you said Atlanta or Chicago, but they have their parade separate from the actual event. Mm-hmm. Now that's different. I feel like that's giving you 2 days of, bliss.
Yeah.
That's something I want to go to. I would love to go to something like that.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just so more, I don't know. I'm glad that Indianapolis has something, because I know in the past we haven't really had a Pride event to this magnitude, but I'm just really glad that it's a start,
So you feel like it was more people there this year than all the other years?
I really can't. I just don't know.
It's difficult to gauge that, because the space that it was in the past, I kind of felt it was easier to tell how it was set up, because it was down there at the old library and you could see. Like, but this everything was just so spread it out, like you couldn't really tell. I
don't like military parking.
I don't like military. I don't like that.
Yeah, because if it wasn't for you, I actually didn't even know where to go. We had rolled all around trying to find it. So when you told me where it was just like as we rolled into military park, it was just like, oh, okay, there it is. But had you not said nothing, I wouldn't have even known nothing, like, or where it was.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When I first went, the parade was next to the venue. This year, the parade was on the opposite end of downtown.
Mm.
So
now that was crazy. I do agree with you there. Because I was like, I thought that they said that the parade was on Pennsylvania. So you make a good point about that.
I'm like, why is it on Mass Ave and then the events on Military Park? That means people have to find their way to get to the park, whether by Uber or by walking or on those scooters. That's really inconvenient.
Yeah, because that's definitely where my confusion came from. Because that's the first place I went was towards Pennsylvania, and then I went up there by Legion Park or whatever it is, wherever it used to be held. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that part. It was too spaced out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have a lot to say. I'm trying. I won't be rude or anything, but no, this pride could have been a lot better if they just stuck with where it used to be when I first came there, because that was a lot of open space, which means we could have had more people. And then they have to. I don't know if they have any power over the street vendors, but they need to. They need to post their prices up there.
And they need to vet these people before they allow them to come.
Yes, you make a real good point there. That was another thing. So
wrong.
You got these people waiting in line for this food to get all the way up in the front, because let's be honest, that line was ridiculous. So you got people waiting all this time, wasting time to get all the way up there, and you're giving them these ridiculous prices.
Yes.
So yes, that was a mess too. That's something that needs to be spoke about, with that committee for next year.
And this is something else that bothered me too. Like, and I don't see this in any other major cities too. Like, and I understand they trying to make money. I know they trying to come up, but I didn't like the fact how, because first of all, I ain't trying to throw no shade. Y'all know I'm not trying to throw no shade, but the entertainment needs to be more on point. I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
Because I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you. They had that front area for the people. You had to pay $60 to stand up in the front, like you at damn Clues Hall, or you at the Old National Center,
or at the
$60. Girl, I didn't.
Baby, they stopped you at a distance. You hear me? We're trying to go. Them Negroes were piled up in front of that gate like the Indianapolis Zoo. They gave us that thing. Honey, you couldn't go no further than them gates. It was bad.
Honey, all out there with all that body odor and weed smell.
Wait. So you have to pay more money just to be near the stage, like but why?
Yes, you did.
That's so stupid.
Honey, I didn't see no celebrities out there for me to be wanting to pay that much.
Now, if it was Cardi B, hell,
right?
I mean, I'll pay $1,000 just to be like, what's up?
Girl, they ain't even paying that much to see them old D-list celebrities at the Vogue. The people that sell off,
like Liza Minnelli's second cousin twice removed.
Now, damn, I could see hell. I would even support that if y'all had at least somebody like that. I mean, I know, but dang, y'all not. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, like maybe if it was like T.S. Madison or maybe Frida, I'll consider it.
I mean, Big Frida was here.
Some chick named Lizzo, I went to listen to her music. It's not even that appealing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It didn't even catch my attention. Maybe a couple songs, but not.
Girl, I don't know who she is.
Yeah, when we were, Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, you good.
No, I just wanted to mention, when we first went to the concert, and there was this I don't know, skinny white girl on the stage. I'm like, who is she? I felt like I was at the damn Teen Choice Awards.
Girl.
I was like, okay, Indianapolis, let's go. Yeah. Make some noise. I was like, yay. I can't hear you. Yay. I'm like, girl, you're not giving me a reason to scream.
When they called us to the stage, we was like just now leaving out. Baby, they called that girl's name. Not one person moved.
I'm like, girl, you're not giving us anything to scream about with your bony ass on the stage.
Ooh.
I'm
real fast. And honey, I don't know who did that. That goddamn Beyonce tribute. But
Ooh, I missed what Beyonce.
Who did this?
They should have took him off and tried again.
Look, we should go to a concert that does not feel like America's Got Talent.
Exactly. Honey, what you said? She sounded like a knockoff of Iggy Azalea.
Yes. I mean, we trying to figure out what the hell she was doing on stage. I was like, girl, you trying to be urban is like, that's wrong. You just like that. She was acting like Hillary Swank off of Freedom Rider. She was really trying to connect with the audience. And
I just felt like we had more talent here.
we need local people.
I'm sure she is talented. But I feel like we have local artists that was way better than ours.
Well, you remember when we went to Big Frida's concert last year?
Yes.
They had some real good talent there.
And you showed me the live video of all the people
Oh,
twerking.
really?
Yeah, honey, they
I
had.
missed it. I am so mad I missed it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, I don't know, maybe I could speak to somebody or something. You know, I'm definitely going to try to figure out who I can reach about that. But they got to do better next year because it felt like it was just thrown together at last minute. You know what I mean? And they just got whoever they could get, and you know, you just pretty much let anybody come in, and then you know, as far as food, it just got thrown together and not prepared. And
I wonder if there's this chance for Black Pride to pick up on this and make.
I really think
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Black Pride can learn from this experience and capitalize on it. I would love to see that happen because I've never been to Black Pride.
What I really feel that some of those people need to check out or kind of collaborate with other cities and see what works better for them.
I was just about to say that y'all need to get whoever's on that committee, baby, a round trip ticket and let them go to Chicago and Atlanta and get some ideas.
Yeah.
And bring it back here. Maybe you'll bring more people into the city, you know, with different stuff. But you ain't bringing if anything, you pushing people away from the city with this thrown together pride.
You know, honestly, between Pride and the Black Expo, I feel like, you know, all the events that
All
we have,
the suffering.
yeah, all the events that's going on, you know, during the summer in Indianapolis is, you know, it pales in comparison to what's going on in other cities.
Oh, yes.
It's like,
I
people
agree.
get-
I don't
yeah.
know who's on the committee now with all these. I mean, but you can definitely see a change from when we used to go years ago on up until now.
Yeah, when I was a
Like,
kid, I
you can
loved
definitely
the
see the
Black Expo.
difference, and it's horrible.
Honey,
It's
I'm gonna
so
take-
downhill.
I'm gonna tell you how bad Black Expo has gotten. Like now, you remember how you paid tickets to get in like $10? Like they are now trying to get people to come in it for free. And I think
I mean, they keep bringing them old ass artists here. They tired. They tired, baby. They tired of performing. They tired of coming here.
Yeah,
They like,
I
we want
mean,
something
woo.
different.
child, I can't.
Well,
Like
you know,
I can't. Like
Them people, you got to realize them older people y'all bringing in, they damn near 70 now.
yeah.
God
exactly.
damn.
I
We
mean,
can't understand nothing they saying now. They got dentures and Alzheimer's and all kinds of shit.
you mean on the Black Expo committee?
Yeah, these people that they bring to
You know, just
yeah.
the people that bring it for the free concerts, the people that bring it in for pride. You know, you can just tell the difference from then on up until now. It's
We
not
need
the
Honey, let me
same.
tell you something. I'm mad because you remember how you used to be able to go, Chad, you remember how you used to be able to go to Black Expo, and you could leave with a whole big old bag of groceries and goodies and hair products and everything else? Man, your ass ain't getting nothing now. You ain't even getting a sample cup of lemonade.
Oh, you mean the freebies?
The freebie? Yeah, you ain't getting nothing now.
Man, I did the IU booth at the Black Expo when I was still a college student at IU, and my cousin was he was a Sigma, so we were both doing the booth, and you know we would always just poke fun at the people, be like, man, they're only here for the free pens and the bags, and you know the people be like, y'all still got some frisbees. Like, but you're not interested in coming to IU? It's like, oh no, I ain't interested in all that. You know, do you got the pens in the little duffel bags? You know, because you know Pookie and they need some back to school supplies, and I'm gonna take these supplies. I'm like, so you're not interested in going to IU, where we have one of the best diverse campuses, and we have, you know, one of the best scholarships for people of color. Oh no, I ain't concerned about that. But I'll take that free T-shirt though.
Huh, them Negroes probably can't spell college, let alone go to it.
Right.
I was like, come on, people, we're more than just free stuff.
Yeah, but it's just been a change. I just feel that a lot of that stuff happened. I felt that it went downhill, especially with Black Expo.
I agree.
Remember, Chen, you remember years ago when there was that shooting down there? It was like about all them people got shot down there. It was like 10
I
people
remember
What was
that.
this?
I do remember that.
at Expo.
I was saying
Well,
that's probably
I
what
think I
it's
may
going
have
down
been
here,
there
huh?
that year. What year would you say?
Oh God, it was about 7-8 years ago.
I
I
was going to say about 6, 7
Yeah.
years ago.
Where did it happen? Because I think I may have been there when that happened.
I don't know exactly.
Man,
It was,
there was just like a lot of people got shot and hurt down there, and it was just.
Because I know we were trying to go to a
mess.
party at the West End, and they wouldn't let us in because
It probably was it because was it down there by Circle Center Mall where it happened?
By Steak and Shake.
Steak and
yes,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I remember now because we were hearing pop, 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 and it was like
Because I remember I covered this story years ago on
This
YouTube.
was my old juvie from when I used to do corrections at the juvenile center. And a couple of those kids that did that, and the one that ended up getting killed, they were my juvies from the juvenile center. So I know them personally. Yeah.
Yep, it's times really are changing.
I just think Indianapolis needs to get it together. That's why they can't really draw like big names. And like Cardi B is gonna probably be the biggest name that they've drawn in for a while.
For what?
Just in general, like Indianapolis has a problem in bringing in big people.
There wasn't Cardi B here though.
Will be here.
She's gone. She's coming.
Yeah, because there should be. She should on tour with.
Yeah, she's coming.
Yeah, she's coming.
That's because she's been canceling though.
No. July.
Really?
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought she canceled the tour after what happened with that.
Yep, she done canceled a couple cities already, and they said those fans were like really upset. So
yeah, remember? Yeah, it was something to do with.
So she don't do the same thing to us.
Yeah, it's because of what happened with what was something was leaked about her drugging men and stealing their money.
Well, and that's honey, and that's. But I'm gonna say
damn,
no. But I'm gonna say this though. Because I feel right is right and wrong is wrong. And don't get me wrong, R. Kelly should definitely be canceled. But if Cardi B out here saying problematic stuff like that too, she need to be held accountable for that.
Right. We can't pick and choose. We gotta be equal about
I feel like they all need to be held accountable. No person is greater than the other. Like
even if she's a lady, no, she's a black widow.
Not a black widow.
A praying mantis.
Girl.
Right.
She be praying on you. I was like, damn, Cardi, really? Come on, girl. I thought your whoring days were over. She's still Cardi from the block.
But girl, that's all we was talking about is just pride today. What is pride to you? And then we had like a big time content creator, YouTube celebrity call in. Davion, he's from Conscious TV. He was just talking about the spiritual aspect of being, gay, and just talking about how we in the Black gay community, how we deal with certain things. Like, it's more even complicated when you're dealing with people of color. So, it was a really good show. Like the first show, I was just saying, I've been talking about doing this show for like over 6 months. And I just finally said, we just need to go ahead and do it.
Today is the day, huh?
Yes.
Perfect timing, right after Pride.
So I really want to start getting some voices from the city here, like even some politicians, like entertainers. So my vision for the show is it's about to be really big because I think that, like I said, I'm all up for roasting and gagging and having a good time. We're going to definitely do that. But I think we got a lot of stuff to talk about, especially with these elections coming up in 2020. And then we got President Orange Dust, Cheeto Dust in office. we got to get serious. So,
I call him I call him Wonder Bread President.
What you call Wonder Bread?
Wonder Bread, Mr. Wonder Bread.
Oh,
pasty ass Wonder Bread.
Ooh, see.
Yeah, I just heard Ricky Smiley talking to Maxine Waters about him.
And great.
She said she's trying to petition to get him impeached and stuff. And I don't know Maxine Waters. I just love everything she represents.
Auntie, they call her Auntie.
I'm still laughing about that exchange that she had on the house floor. What was it? It's like, I will not yield my time to you. She was like basically saying, you need to sit down, young man, and let the grown folks speak.
Okay.
Why she remind me of one of them old church mothers that friendship
that be collecting the offering.
Right, she be on the pastor's committee for the church anniversary committee. Honey, and she ain't gonna be playing with that money, and she ain't playing with the kitchen committee. y'all gonna have this stuff right, and y'all ain't gonna have all these people coming in and out the kitchen taking plates out the kitchen.
She probably carrying her a little tote thing of Altoids. Get the mitts ready.
It's either you gonna have your salad today or you ain't going.
But I'm pretty interested to see how his tour in London went, because nobody shades in Europe better than the British. They were just like.
Did you see all those people that was out protesting Donald Trump over there? Like, do you see that picture?
Yes.
I was like, I bet Queen Elizabeth's like, oh Lord, I lived long enough to see this dumbass in Buckingham Palace.
Honey, he gonna mess around. This country. Man, I don't know. Like,
he's gonna start another war because he can't learn how to shut up.
That's a whole other topic within itself. I can go on and on about the wrongs of that man. I'm sure we all can.
Yeah.
I will say that for another time.
But yeah, we gonna.
I got so much to say about him.
But yeah, I was gonna let you know we're gonna do these shows like every 2 weeks. So we doing them 2 weeks, and I'm still doing my news show, the Urban Wire. So I ain't got rid of that. But like I said, this is like a new network that we have, a podcast network, like a TV network. So we're gonna have I'm gonna probably have a couple more shows on my network. I'm gonna probably work with some people independently. So we about to really do something big, like as far as black media and just like it's concerned here in the city. So I got some things coming up that I'm working on.
Oh, right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be tuned in, and I got a better work shift, so I got more time. Hallelujah.
Oh, I think ain't God good? I don't want to tell your business, but I'm so happy for you and your new work opportunity. So I just want to give a shout out to you.
Thank you.
So, but yeah, I mean, let me ask you, as you being an ally to the community, what would you like to see on the show? Like, or what were some of your suggestions before we let you go?
Well, I pretty much think you covered it, like more about politics and, just bringing awareness to certain things that other people don't bring awareness to. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what this show could represent, because a lot of people don't talk about a lot of things because they're scared, you know what I mean? And feeling like, they're thinking more so of their reputation instead of just speaking the truth. And I feel like that's what the show represents, truth. Mm-hmm. So, I'm just here for it, bringing awareness.
All right, then I want to give a shout out in the comments. I see my boy Dustin just came in. Me and him been talking about doing some collaborative work. So, yeah, just be on the lookout. Like, I just want to put our city on the map and just positive. It's just enough negativity out there.
That's what it's about. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank you. I don't want to hold you up, cuz I want to thank you because we're gonna put this up as our after show. So I'm gonna cut this audio up. So it's gonna be on our podcast network, but it's gonna be our after show. So yeah, thank you for calling in, and I will let you know for sure when we do the next broadcast.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, you too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, I think that's about it, y'all. I'm hungry.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Take care, and we will be back in the next couple of weeks.
I'll make a dinner dash because it's almost time for me to go to bed.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have to get up early.
I hate this job. I want to quit. I have no idea how much I want to leave program, but I can't. I'm sick and tired of the roller coaster of my schedule. Like,
I don't blame you.
No, I'm mad as hell. I have seniority, and you're gonna make me give up my Sunday Mondays just because you don't want to give us more hours. I needed that Sunday Mondays. That's the only time I can actually go up to see my parents. Now I have to do it every other Sunday Monday. So yeah, I can't wait to leave this job. And I have a friend that's working at Fresh Market, Fresh Time. If there's any openings for next year that I could possibly snag, hopefully,